All right, JT, let's play the video. Okay, so a couple things. Right off the draw, you come right up on this target here. You have a little bit of a hesitation. So that, I don't know if that's from not calling your shot or probably waiting for the sound. So you thought you hit it and you started to wiggle, but you didn't really. Oh, there you go. You didn't really get going. This part is good. You do kind of get a little tied up with the fault line here, and your footwork isn't really smooth. So if we watch it, just watch your feet. You kind of cross yourself up there a couple times. So ideally, we'd avoid this little curvy fault line. And I didn't put that there on purpose like that, but it did. It seemed like a bunch of people did exactly what you did. They went up to this stick, and then this one kind of, as it juts out, kind of got in their way. So got tied up there a little bit. This is good. Now this part, a lot of people sort of did this same thing, and this sort of whole system in here, not system, but target arrangement behind the barrels seemed to make a lot of people do some awkward movement. So now you're kind of doing this back up thing, which isn't bad because you are shooting while moving, but it's not the most sort of graceful move to do this double hop sideways thing. Then you come into position. This is good. The good thing about where you are now is this position is where you can see the steel, the two partials, and the headshot. But you can also see the target that you shot last behind the barrel. And one of the things to think about is all the movement your muzzle has to make to go from here, this target, then over to this target. So it's a huge swing over to the right. Then as you're moving, you swing all the way back to the left, and then swing back to the right as you engage each target. So if you could measure the distance your muzzle travels, it goes, from here to here, and now you're pretty much facing all the way to the right. I don't know what that would be, 160 degrees. You swing all the way back to the left. So that's just time sort of not wasted, but time that could be gained back. So transition from this paper to the steel was 1.8 seconds. That's kind of a while. And then you do what you have to do here. The important thing is take your time on these difficult shots. You can't really do anything about them. They're tough shots. You got to call them and hit them. The main thing for you, I think, would have been not to do that swinging transition all the way from here to here. If you were going to do the order that you did it, I would have done this target, the partial headshot that you can't see here, this one, and then the steel. And I think you make up for that on the next one. So let's watch the next one. All right, good. And that was, I think, was it 2 seconds better? 2.3 seconds better. Yeah. So that's obviously much better. Let's go back and review. So right off the bat, you get moving off the start, which I like. Let's see what your time was to the first shot. 2:17. So it took a little bit more time to your first shot to get moving and shoot, but you gain all this distance. The thing I'd like to see you do is to see if you could roll through this spot without coming to a hard stop. It really came to a hard, stop here. You have a nice low base and a good shooting stance, but you completely come to a complete stop here. And the other thing is, as soon as you hit it, you don't really get going right away. And now you do. You come here. This is good. What I like about this is you leave this target, this third one, and the gun stays up just about at eye level, comes right over to this target, and you're aiming through this barrel, so as soon as you can see it, you're engaging it. This is good. That your order is much better here. The thing you'll notice is, let's go back. So you use your eyes to pick up the spot where you're going with your feet, but your reload takes, if we had to count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps to do. So it took 7 steps to get into this position, and your reload isn't even done by the time you get there. So that's really a big time killer for you here. That looks like 3 seconds of movement to get onto the steel with the reload in there. So if you could get that load done, obviously for you, I think practicing, a 1 or 2 step reload would be beneficial, especially this right to left direction, which is kind of the danger zone direction for for right-handed people. If you could work on that, practice, just get your vision to it right away as you start to move. So right here, get your hand on that mag, get your eyes to the mag well instead of leaving the gun behind, and then get it in there, and then work on, you want to maybe have the reload done by now, then work on sprinting into this position and having the gun up and ready to shoot as you arrive. So we're kind of fumbling with it here. Your feet are already stationary. But from this point, we engage everything as we should. And this is good. This is something a lot of people didn't really catch on to, is that position that you're at now. You can see every target without moving your feet. I was going by this little rock here. Most of the people that kind of got tied up here were a little forward of this rock, and then they had to move their feet again and lean to get this target on the right. So whether you plan that or you were using a visual indicator, it's important to get into that position. So during your walkthrough, and you may have done this, it looks like you did, pick a spot that you want to go to, whether it's maybe my left foot by the end of this stick or my right foot by this rock or whatever. Plan that spot that you can get to see as many targets as possible from that final position, so you don't have to move your feet as you're swinging across all the targets. Let me just look at one thing again here. Gun up. Yeah, so that was 60, 67. It's not bad. I think for you at your level, this transition off the head to this paper could have been under a 50. So, think about the drill you did over on AJ's side, the sort of distance change up one with the 2 close papers and the far steel. Think about going from the steel, calling that shot right away, and immediately swinging over to this paper. So same thing here, calling the second shot on this head, boom, and swing the gun over, right? You have to be confident in that second shot on the head, swing the gun over on this other open, wide open target, and try to cut some time there. I think you definitely could get that under a 50 at your level, so just something to think about there.